Iowa State University's climatology program and every other thing I could look up under, finding or trying to find Ethan Trowbridge. Credential corroboration attempt. I was sent an email by the university saying the following: the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, of 1974 prohibits the release of student records without a student's consent. However, you can check the Iowa State University Library's online catalog for all PhD graduate dissertations, theses, peer-reviewed journals, conference proceedings, etc. that are cataloged. And that's public information. So says, and I'm modifying the name because I don't want him to get in the middle of this, Dick L.W., Environmental Programs, Iowa State University, as of July 27. A little under 12,000 results looking up author or creator for Ethan. About 2,700 of them come up as Trowbridge only as author and creator. But it's also the same results if you just look it up throughout the names. Well, let's try to narrow it down. Ethan and Trowbridge anywhere in the files shows only 166 results. That's if you put Ethan and Trowbridge in there, and the article, the paper, the dissertation, the thesis, has to have Ethan and Trowbridge somewhere. Even if they're not the one person, it could be two people. Dr. Ethan and Dr. Trowbridge could be in there, or just the name. 45 results if you include the word climate, but again, this is anywhere in the file. Why did I do that? Because I got 0 results for Ethan Trowbridge at all, for author or creator or anything, even under references and links. Citation, please. Or even a Chevy Nova at this point. Let's do some background. A doctoral degree, if you claim to be a doctor, is an academic degree awarded by universities that qualifies the holder to teach at a university level in the degree's field, and or to work in a specified profession, and can be revoked or rescinded by the university that awarded it for the following possible reasons: plagiarism, criminal or unethical activities of the author, or malfunction or manipulation of academic evaluation processes. That means if you're a teacher, educator, or if you just subvert the whole point of university studies. There's actually a punishment. Discrediting. You get discredited. I'm going to include the link for that, by the way. A thesis may be part of a bachelor or master's course, while a dissertation is normally applied to a doctorate. In other contexts, it's the other way around, sometimes to distinguish them. U.S. research doctorates are awarded for successfully completing and defending independent research presented in the form of a dissertation. But that's for a research doctorate. That's where you're a working researcher at a college. Anyway, advanced study and at least 3 years of graduate study are required. But professional degrees using this term in their title also include philosophy. D. Phil, not Dr. Phil, wouldn't want to say this about Dr. Phil, and Ph.D. with upper and lower case spelling. You can do all sorts of variations on this, unfortunately. And then you run into my little problem. Now, if anybody noticed my previous channel, you're going to know about this already, but I'll go off on a tangent in a minute. But let's repeat. Even though the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act applies to non-doctorate degrees and non-theses, if you do a thesis or anything that would be required to get a doctorate, the information will be publicly posted by most universities. And even if there's only a paper version, when you look up the information, it will include a reference to who did the thesis or doctorate or PhD work or peer-reviewed journals and studies or research. So it probably isn't possible to not find it. Some of these universities have records that they will let you access. You just have to see pictures of the work instead of being able to search through it, from the 1800s. So again, 0 results for any author or creator or contributor or citation for an Ethan Trowbridge. And the only time it comes up in a reasonable number, like 166 results, is when you allow it to be either of these parts anywhere in the files. And it's 2600 results just for Trowbridge, but for the author and creator, it doesn't include the name. He's not listed as ever doing anything that would give him a degree, this particular type of degree. Philosophers, people who have doctorates in philosophy, or armchair philosophers, should stop saying silly crap about physics, astrophysics, astronomy, history, reality, sandwiches. Philosophy tries to understand the universe by pure thought and deduction, without collecting any experimental data or any of that kind of stuff. They care too much about deep-sounding meta-questions, just asking meta-questions this week, instead of sticking to what can be observed, calculated, tested, rubber-stamped, and spanked. So it's really useless if you're looking up anything involving physics, climatology, or anything else of any use. And if you can't already tell, I freaking hate philosophy students. They're not doctorates. They're always students. Always students. Philosophical prejudices and dogmas are always more important than new empirical evidence and solid calculations and argumentation. Authority is not derived from the impersonal evidence, but from predetermined wisdom of the philosophers that ultimately boils down to their popularity among the folks who have even less competency than themselves. So the approach remains tightly linked with the human language and interpersonal behavior and that sort of thing. See also special snowflakes. Humanities degrees, which is always inadequate as a language, English language, to accurately describe nature. You must absolutely use mathematics, calculations, and experimentation. You can't just sit around and pontificate all damn day long. That would be YouTube. Philosophers almost always fail to appreciate that their language is rooted in assumptions that have been proven wrong, which has made almost all of their questions ill-defined and most of their answers misguided. I would say all, and virtually all of their answers worthless or not even wrong, meaning it doesn't even contain enough content to make them falsifiable. This is all used to redirect the progress of science in a different direction than the direction indicated by the evidence, typically in the direction of people's wishes on how nature should look. It's been used as a justification for crackpot physics in general. Philosophy has turned into a social movement, justice warriors, where one can hide if his or her ideas have been killed by the procedure that is the most important building block of science: falsifiability, critique, and peer review. Because philosophy, as an institution, is a hideaway for people who are just basically wrong, many people switch to it to avoid having to do anything real. It is a factor that isn't just neutral. Instead, it reduces the efficiency and effectiveness of the scientific method and alters people's perspective about what is and is not considered valid. They sometimes accidentally agree with scientific evidence, but that's all. And where they disagree, they appeal, almost like politicians, to everyone else. Sometimes they get YouTube channels, sometimes they set up websites like Someone's Bones. And if anybody's curious, this is referring to Someone's Bones website saying a certain doctor, whatever the hell it is this week, has a degree from such and such university and worked at such and such impressive location, like the U.S. Geological Survey or whatever. And all of it's a lie because it's a made-up character, not providing any corroboration. That's it. And again, in the article, this climatologist then began to talk about earthquakes being caused by planets that can't even affect the tides. And somehow the electric universe isn't supposed to be mentioned. The non-falsifiability of wisdom and philosophy used for the electric universe model is another video for another day, but it's a C also. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.